Hey all, I'm here today with Eternal Weekend champion Larsson, who's going to be doing an interview about cephalid breakfast. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Doing good. Just got back from vacation on the Gotland island here in Sweden.
Oh, nice. What is that place like? I've never heard of it.
It's piney and it's like the Swedish Hawaii. It's much colder in
Mm,
but it's during summer it's very nice.
that sounds beautiful. Yeah, I live
Mm.
in Houston, Texas, which is completely devoid of any sort of geography. It's just hot and flat. And anytime I get out, like to any sort of mountain or any place that it's at all
Mm.
cool, it just feels amazing. So I'm glad that you got to experience some of that. I mean, the summer is the time to get away. So about cephalid breakfast, my first question for you, how do you feel like the deck is positioned in the current meta?
Um, I think it's all right. Like the main player in the meta is UB Reanimator, which is it is not a great matchup for breakfast. You can build a deck to be better against that, but it's also not an awful matchup. It's a matchup where you need to like know what you're doing and like have a for example you like know that in the early game it's very dangerous to tap into days
Hmm.
because then they can go in tomb and protect with days. So like a lot of like things to keep in mind. But it's a fun matchup. But the fact that that is not a great matchup makes it so like this is not like on top of the meta really.
Sure.
Uh, but beyond that, like there are a lot of kind of random mid-range tempo decks that are like with Steel Cutter and the Black Tempo, which especially the red ones are pretty good matchups for this deck. And then a lot of like the random Cradle Control and Different Access and all the Forge decks and all the lands as well are much better matchups. I think
Hmm.
this is definitely the deck you can take down a tournament with. Uh, and it might not be the best deck, and it requires a bit of knowledge to run all the tips and tricks with it. So it's not perhaps the easiest to pick up on short notice.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying there. I think we do have good matchups overall against a broad spectrum of decks and decks that you see pretty commonly. Obviously, I wish those Demir decks were better, but they just thought seize you a bit, and it can be rough to recover from that. And days as well, as you mentioned. Speaking of taking down tournaments, man, you have been doing nothing but that, it seems, with breakfast like over the past year. Eternal Weekend. I think you won a showcase challenge too, and top four the showcase qualifier, right?
Yeah.
What an amazing run! And having seen you play and played against you, I have no wondering why you were able to do all that. What tips do you have for someone who's trying to prepare better for those sorts of premier events?
I feel like the big thing is like being figuring out like what do I want to build my deck to beat, and that's like you don't need to like, oh, I'm going to set my exact 75 uh, this far in advance or like before to just feel secure. Like it's more like, okay, I'm going to have a high number of for example for Eternal Weekend I was pretty sure I wanted a lot of force negations in my sideboard
Mhm.
because I that was my main plan to beat all the Ancient Tomb decks. Uh, but I was not like until the very day sure if I wanted like three um, consigns or like so it's not about exact cards, but more like what problems do I face and how do I want to face them? So that's more like ideas. Like, do I think of Tamio is a good card? That and like the play style and things that stem from that is perhaps a bigger thing. That like, are you playing 3 or 4 copies? And yeah, so like having a plan for things and like understanding on how your deck is built, like for those plans. Yeah, and what more? In the events themselves, just taking it a match at a time is very important. Like not overthinking it, and not like thinking too much about the tournament as a tournament, but like each match as a match.
That's good advice. I do think it's easy, like if you get a loss early in events like that, to start feeling kind of overwhelmed or thinking about like your top 8 chances. And there's no point in like thinking about your top 8 chances when you're resolving a ponder, right?
No.
So it definitely can get in the way. It can be hard to be in that mentality, but I think that's good advice. And it's interesting what you said about like the 3/4 of negations, because whenever I saw your Eternal Weekend list, that was one of the things I saw and thought, that's a lot of forces, and we can't use them to back up our combo. But I picked up that your exact list, and I never looked back. Like 3/4 negations feels great. Occasionally, I've been on 2, but man, it's just it gets the random combo, it gets the Blood Moon decks. So
yeah, and just to like how that is a like thing of a list. It's like having a lot of forces, including force negations, allows you to play Nadu versus combo decks and hopefully find one force in your top 4 or top 2 cards, much more likely. So like that makes having a lot of forces is great in itself. It also makes Nadu better versus combo, which is also a great thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's been very powerful, and whenever I pair into any sort of combo, I just feel like I'm rolled up every time almost, and that's how you get wins. I wanted to ask you what you thought about a few cards. Breakfast is a deck with all the colors that it can play. There's just a ton of different angles that you can take, different cards that slide in and out of the list periodically, it seems. And a lot of people have a lot of different cards that they like to run. The first card I wanted to ask you about is Teferi Time Raveler. I know that you have played that a lot, and obviously when it's on the table, my goodness, it's amazing. For me, it has always felt kind of clunky, but I was wondering what your take is on Teferi, like in the current meta, and where Breakfast fits into that.
Like I think Teferi is still good in this meta. But the problem is it's super good against Reanimator if you resolve it. But then again, like having too many 3-mana plays versus the problem for the card right now is there's too much days in the format. And unlike Nadu, which we have caverns for, there's no way to resolve a Teferi through days with any cheat codes, so to say. So that is probably the main hindrance right now. So that's like the reason to play Tamio over it.
Yeah. I also just found a lot of the matchups where I wanted Teferi, it was also hard to defend against defend Teferi against their board, like their Bowmaster or their bolts or something like that.
Yeah.
And obviously it's good if it eats a bolt and then they don't have the bolt for your nomads, but like, I don't know, it just, I agree with you about days being such a problem for Teferi and Wasteland, because running 2 basics, like you are using a non-basic to cast Teferi, and if that's what gets Wastelanded and then you can't combo, well, what was the point? What do you think about Tamiyo, though? That was a card you brought up as an alternative. I've been trying this 4 Tamiyo list the past couple days and been loving it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Tamiyo is great. It's like Teferi fits better kind of in the general game plan of the other things. But Tamio is like it's so inexpensive. Like
Mhm.
the most common way to lose with breakfast is your mana not working. Uh, and Tamio being a 1 mana play that affects the board, that forces your opponent to react, is just great.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a deck where you don't want to, or you don't get to ultimate it very often. It's way more often that you will pick up stuff,
Mhm.
a ponder, force, or something. And I feel like in general people are a bit too greedy on trying to go for the ultimate when picking up cards from your graveyard is usually much more
Yeah.
values. Sadly, we don't have any green cards to get the mana as well, but
Yeah.
it's funny. I didn't even know about that effect until I saw someone play modern with that breach deck where you had Rumble, and I
Oh
was
man.
super confused. Like, what
Yeah.
happened now? Because I hadn't even read the card properly. Uh, yeah, but it is a great card because it's cheap yet impactful.
Yeah. And one way in which breakfast utilizes it really well is if you do have the planeswalker in play and you can minus it, if you're comboing off, like you can pick up a Force of Will, or like the other day I had to clear a Graph Digger's Cage. So you just mill your whole deck, you're gonna find Prismatic Ending, get rid of the Graph Digger's Cage, and then you can combo off. So that's a unique feature of Tameo and Breakfast, where not only is it this tough thing you have to deal with and can, just distract the whole game from your plan as far as the opponent is concerned, but it can also be that final piece of your combo or just win the game on its own. So I really liked it. I also think it makes the deck, like coming from a background of playing a lot of Painter, it kind of makes it feel like Painter, where they have all these 1 drops and 2 drops that must be answered. Like if you don't clear that Goblin Welder, you know, you can't clear anything else.
Yeah,
And so forcing so many different cheap things to be must answers for the opponent is a play style I like for sure. And
yeah,
yeah, what are your thoughts?
yeah, absolutely. Plus, it has some synergies as well, like the constructs making your um, clues making your constructs bigger. The body of it making is a great place to redirect damage from nomads.
Yeah,
Um, so
yeah.
it has synergies.
I think one last thing for Tameo that's nice as well is if you do have Nadu, let's say you have Nadu and Shuko, it's just more hits that you have. Like it's sort of like you're trying to be the Glimpse of Nature deck at that point. And well,
Yeah,
when the Glimpse of Nature deck runs out of creatures, your turn is over. So it's nice to have some 1 drops that you can hit. And I think that added density of 1 drops is good for the deck.
yeah. Plus, you can cast it from Cavern, which is actually
Yeah,
great because like this deck is not that good at casting spells other than Nadu or like Illusionist from the Cavern of Souls.
yeah.
So having more use from that is good.
Good point. Yeah. Um, be interesting to see going forward how that pans out. What do you think about surgical extraction? That's a card that actually pairs well with Tameo in a way. You can minus it and is obviously really nice graveyard hate. There's a lot of graveyard hate running around. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel like it's just a great card. I played it on and off in paper in my local meta. I've played it a bit because I've not expected Reanimator, but it all comes back to like for as long as the best deck is a Reanimator deck with counter spells, Fair is just too good in comparison.
Yeah.
Uh, so for as long as Reanimator is the deck to beat, having Fair is just better
Surgical.
than
Yeah.
surgical. Yeah, uh, because like when I pick choose graveyard hate for breakfast, the decks I want them to really work against is primarily reanimator, and then yeah, it's good if they're okay against oops as well, and their Fermicob is actually better than surgical too because yeah, with Fermicob you
Yeah.
can get both. You force them to have the extra mana for Memory's Journey right away.
For sure.
by
Yeah.
targeting both.
Yeah, just hitting a critical mass of their graveyard is important too. Sometimes you can hit like Macabre plus that giant, or rather, you can hit Oracle plus that giant, or two Narcomoebas or something like that. So I definitely
Yeah,
like it in that matchup as well. Macabre just seems really well positioned. Um,
yeah. But if things change, because like if this Jeskai Wizards deck becomes the new hotness, and the Reanimator perhaps Entomb is banned or something, and lands starts picking up even further, surgical might be the way to go.
yeah, yeah, definitely surgical versus lands feels really nice. So hit their Life from the Loam or Wasteland or something like that. What do you think about cutting ponders when sideboarding? So that's something that sometimes I don't do it a whole lot, and then I've been doing it more lately. And cutting ponder feels bad in a way because it helps you to smooth out your deck and find your lands and whatnot. But we do have just a lot of things that we try to cram into the deck. So what do you think?
I generally don't like. I mean, there are matchups where Ponder actually is a bad draw, like versus Chalice decks and stuff. Against those decks, cutting Ponders is not only fine, but I think absolutely correct. Uh, but against decks where which don't hate on attack your mana in that way, or attack one cost with Chalice. You can, it's a card you can cut, you can shave on, but I don't think you should cut them all,
Yeah,
because we're still a deck where the both what the cards do and the power level of the cards vary a lot. So Ponder is great in like making sure you get the cards you actually want,
yeah,
even though it's another tax on the mana.
yeah, yeah. I
And that you have.
agree. It's Cephalid Breakfast can end up being very clunky with like the Urza sagas and random different color spells if you don't find the lands you're looking for and the spells that go with them. So I do think it's tough to cut too many, but I sometimes I have found myself like if I'm looking for a cut on 61 or 62,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe
yeah.
shaving a ponder or two.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You can shave on them. Like I don't think you not going too far off. Like yeah, it's still one of the better cards in the deck. I think.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, how about I have one more question here for you. Let's say you're thinking about picking up breakfast. You've never
hmm?
played breakfast before. Maybe you have played Legacy. Maybe you're new to Legacy, but something about Cephalid breakfast just speaks to you. Um, what are what advice would you give to like a new player of breakfast? What are like some very first things to keep in mind as you play the deck?
um, I feel like having a feel for the mana of the deck is probably like when do you play which land, and that's partly something that we'll learn the entire way. I still like do mistakes in that regard, but like getting the basics of that, getting the basics, uh,
That's good
uh,
advice.
it's really important, because like uh, this is a deck where many of your losses will be due to mana problems. So making sure that like that you actually think, oh, do I get the Tundra here? Do I get the basic here? Like, what do I give up by getting the basic? What do I risk by getting the Tundra? Uh, and like, which fetch line do I play? When do I play my Saga? Uh, there are a lot of things there to think about.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I was reading your guide that you wrote for Eco Baronen's site,
mm,
and I know you wrote a lot about sequencing your lands, and I agree. I think I mean, if you playing against Wasteland or something like that, I mean that's the game right there. If you get to cast your spells, you're probably going to do all right. Um, yeah, that was a good guide. I really enjoyed reading that. Good advice and good sideboarding plans, and definitely something I would encourage everybody to check out. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I guess just one note that I want to end on. it's really your success with breakfast that was what pulled me back into playing the deck. I first played breakfast maybe about 2 years ago, pre Nadu, back when it was like an Aether Vial deck, and I just did terribly with it and kind of gave up. And I think it was a little over a year ago when you were doing very well, like in the trophy race, playing breakfast. And I thought, I had played against you and thought, man, this is pretty good. uh, and I liked the deck, and so I got back into it. And of course, Nadu, comes out, and I remember even thinking Nadu isn't going to be that good. I don't know. Cephalid Breakfast doesn't play green, and I get on the breakfast Discord, and there's like 500 messages from people going crazy about it. And just seeing some early videos about Nadu, and it really got me hyped to play again. And I got back off it for a bit, but seeing your success with Eternal Weekend and everything is really what motivated me to try to do well with the deck. So having you here to talk about this and play a bit of Magic with you is just really excellent. I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah, it was fun. Glad hearing that. It was fun playing. Yeah, and it's like I also have long periods where I don't do well. I don't know if it's bad luck or like not thinking about the plays properly or something.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's good to hear. It's
it
good to
comes
hear
in
that
waves.
we all go through those periods, a few 2-3s in a row, or you just drop from tournaments, and yeah, that's how it goes. I mean, Magic is a game of luck and a game of skill, but also a game of like your mind state as well, like you said. And like if you're tilted and you keep playing, you might just get tilted farther, and then like force a will something stupid, and then you're just, you're losing. So that's good to hear. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. This has been a really informative and fun interview, and thanks so much.
Yeah.